Do you feel relentlessly exhausted? Do you have trouble concentrating, eating, sleeping, and exercising, or overeating? Do you find it really challenging to manage your emotions and constantly feel overwhelmed and not good enough? If you've been experiencing these symptoms for a while, you could be in survival mode. In this video, I'll explore the 5 common signs together with suggestions on breaking free. I'm Jo Banks. I've been a professional executive coach for almost 15 years, and I'm sharing what I know. In our fast-paced and demanding world, getting caught up in the daily grind and losing sight of our well-being is really easy. Sometimes without realising it, we slip into survival mode, a state of existence where we're merely getting by rather than thriving. Survival mode can manifest in various aspects of our lives, and recognising the signs is the first step towards regaining control and rediscovering a fulfilling life. So what is survival mode? Survival mode is when our autonomic nervous system has become so overwhelmed that it's stuck in our fight, flight, freeze stress response. Typically, when one stressful thing happens, our stress response gets triggered, but quickly returns back to baseline or homeostasis. However, if our stress response is continually activated, it doesn't come back down to baseline. It gets stuck on high alert. To learn more about the fight, flight, freeze stress response, I suggest you watch my previous 2 videos. I'll leave the links in the description below. But to give you a quick recap, here's how the 4 responses, stress responses, typically present themselves. Fight doesn't necessarily look like bopping someone on the nose. It tends to look like anger, aggression, belligerence, shouting, nitpicking, micromanaging, defensiveness, and passive aggressiveness. Flight is a sudden need to get away from a person or a situation. It could be ringing in sick, cancelling plans at the last minute, any kind of avoidance. Could be running out of a room. Freeze is that inability to move, wanting to stay home, numbing, Netflix binging, social media scrolling, online gaming, binge eating, excessive alcohol consumption. Could be difficulty finding energy. In my experience, when people are in survival mode for a long time, freeze is the typical stress response that they get stuck in. Finally, we have fawn. Fawning is fawning over others. So people pleasing, difficulty setting boundaries, struggling to say no, putting others' needs above our own. The common symptoms of being in survival mode and what to do about them. Number 1, constant exhaustion. One of the telltale signs of survival mode is feeling perpetually exhausted, both physically and mentally. You find yourself running on empty, barely getting through each day. Your sleep may be disrupted, and even when you rest, you wake up tired and unrefreshed. This exhaustion can result from chronic stress, overworking, neglecting self-care, or an imbalanced lifestyle. What to do? Start by prioritizing self-care by setting aside time for relaxation and rejuvenation. Focus on getting quality sleep, nourishing your body with healthy food, and engaging in activities that bring you joy and peace. You don't have to make massive life changes. In fact, I'd advise that until you get your nervous system back to regulation, you don't do anything massive. Don't try to do too much too soon. Your subconscious is likely to fight against it and push back, pushing you further down that survival rabbit hole. Instead, start small. For example, Walk for 15 minutes a day. So many benefits for that. I'll talk about it in another video. Eat one healthy meal a day containing no processed food. Listen to a favourite happy song. When you do that, you release dopamine, the feel-good hormone. And I have a free mini course available on how to hack your happy hormones. I'll leave the description below. Do something you used to love but have lost interest in, but just do it for 10 minutes. Often when we get into motion, motion creates more emotion, but don't put the impossible in front of yourself. Just aim for 10 minutes. Number 2, neglected relationships. Survival mode often leads to neglecting personal relationships as you struggle to meet your own basic needs and fulfill your obligations. You may withdraw from social activities, cancel plans, or become emotionally distant from loved ones. Your friendships and connections may begin to suffer, leaving you feeling even more isolated and alone. Unfortunately, one of the other downsides to self-isolation is the lack of oxytocin, the love hormone. Adverse effects of being low on this important biochemical include not feeling safe, low mood, lethargy, sadness, depression, anxiety. We get oxytocin from being around other people, from hugging, physical touch, laughter, playing with pets, team sports, cinema, theatre, football games, etc. It's a bonding hormone. We are social animals. To feel safe, we need to be around other people so that we can get that feeling of safety from the oxytocin. What to do? Take stock of your relationships and identify areas you can invest more time and effort. Schedule regular social activities or catch-ups with friends and loved ones. If that feels too overwhelming, start by either calling a trusted friend or family member or arranging a low-key coffee with someone you feel safe being yourself with. And safety is really the key word here. Prioritize connection and nurture those relationships that bring you the most joy and support. Beware of spending time with people who drain you. Number 3, overwhelm and lack of focus. When you're in survival mode, you often feel overwhelmed by the sheer number of tasks and responsibilities on your plate. Your mind constantly races and you struggle to concentrate or complete tasks effectively. And that's because your prefrontal cortex has gone offline. When you're in fight, flight, freeze, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for critical thinking, shuts down. It literally goes offline as the emotional part of the brain, the amygdala, takes over. Again, I explain this in detail in the previous 2 videos. This state of overwhelm can lead to decreased productivity, increased mistakes, and a feeling of being stuck in a never-ending downward spiral. What to do? Break down your tasks into smaller, more manageable steps. Prioritize your to-do list and focus on one task at a time. Practice mindfulness techniques such as deep breathing or meditation to calm your mind and regain focus. I like NSDR, non-sleep deep rest, which includes yoga nidra. And no, I'm not suggesting that you twist yourself into a noodle. NSDR and yoga nidra are like guided meditation and are clinically proven to reduce stress and aid relaxation in as little as 10 minutes. I will leave 2 of my favourite recordings. I'll leave links below. In addition, consider delegating or outsourcing some responsibilities to lighten your load. Remember, it's better to do a few things well than many things poorly. Number 4, emotional numbness. Survival mode often takes a toll on your emotional well-being, leaving you feeling numb or detached from your emotions. This feeling is often described as disassociation or dissociation. I describe it as the lights are on but no one's home. You can mask, join in conversations and appear to be fully in the room and fully engaged. However, your mind is elsewhere. Some people describe it as things looking surreal or like they're looking through fog or a net curtain. Some say it's like looking at the world through a porthole or like the lid has been put on everything. You may find it challenging if you're feeling like that to experience joy, enthusiasm, or even sadness. You're merely going through the motions without truly connecting with your emotions and the world around you. What to do? Take time to reconnect to your emotions. Engage in activities that bring you joy, whether that's listening to music, engaging in creative pursuits, or spending time in nature. That's a huge one. We are animals. We are not meant to be in boxes. Getting outside into fresh air and greenery is massive for our well-being. Practice gratitude and mindfulness, and there's lots of techniques out there. And again, it's clinically proven. It lights up different parts of the brain and makes us feel good. Consider seeking support from a therapist or a counselor or a coach who can help you process and navigate your emotions. If that feels too overwhelming, journaling is clinically proven as the second best tool for processing your thoughts and emotions after talking to a trusted other. And I discuss journaling and give you some journal prompts in the previous video. Again, the link will be below. Things often appear far worse when we're stuck in our minds. So getting everything out and onto paper, even if you burn it or destroy it afterwards, is a great way of processing your thoughts and emotions and getting your prefrontal cortex back online. Number 5, lack of interest in usual hobbies. Survival mode often leaves us little time or energy for pursuing our usual hobbies and interests, let alone personal growth and self-improvement. You may find yourself stuck in a rut, lacking motivation or inspiration. Your dreams and aspirations take a backseat as you prioritize immediate survival. This lack of personal growth can lead to a sense of stagnation and dissatisfaction with life. What to do? Carve out some time for doing the things you love. Set goals that align with your passions and interests. Engage in activities that stimulate your mind and creativity. Read books, attend workshops, or take up a new hobby. Surround yourself with like-minded people who inspire and motivate you. We become the 5 people we spend the most time with, so choose those people carefully. Personal growth is a lifelong journey, and even small steps can lead to significant changes over time. I don't advise doing anything, throwing yourself into anything when you're in survival mode, because you won't stick at it, because that will also be a threat to your amygdala. So start small. Start by doing something that you used to love for just 10 minutes, and typically that initial time will expand. Also, when we're in survival mode, all of our fears come to the surface. So if you tend to strive for perfection and you can't bring yourself to do your hobby because you know you can't be perfect at it right there and then, instead aim for excellence. No one can be perfect, but everyone can be excellent. The wrap up. Recognizing the signs of being in survival mode is the first step to reclaiming your life and moving from mere survival to genuine thriving. Remember that self-care, nurturing relationships, regaining focus, personal growth, reconnecting with your emotions are all crucial to break free from that survival mode. By prioritizing your well-being and taking small steps each day, you can create a life that is not just about surviving, but truly thriving. Neuroscience teaches us that no matter how hard it feels, we can start to rewire our brains if we do one new thing, no matter how small, every single day. One thing I repeatedly say in my sessions and during my training is that self-care is not selfish, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. I know a lot of my female clients particularly have a problem with the concept of self-care. It's a dead giveaway to me. I often have referrals from organisations where people are nearing burnout. When I start working with a client, one of the first things I ask is, what do you do just for you? Inevitably, in burnout cases, the question is met with, well, I used to do yoga, Pilates, go out with my friends, go to the gym, go for a walk at lunchtime, but I don't do anything now. I'm too busy, or I'm too tired, or I'm too exhausted. If that sounds familiar, let's do a reframe. If you're depleted, exhausted, low energy, or burnt out, you pass that energy on to your family, friends, and co-workers. It's proven that our energy extends 2 meters away from us. Think about it. Somebody bursts into the room in a bad mood. They don't say a thing, but you just know. So if you're in a low mood and low energy, that's what you're passing on to your friends, families, and co-workers. Furthermore, please be aware that if you have children, how you behave teaches them how to act as a parent and in difficult situations. So if you don't want your adult children to neglect themselves to the point of exhaustion, you need to model something different. They take their cues from you as to how to navigate the world. What next? In the next video, I'm going to be giving you some of my favorite super simple tips and tools for managing stress and anxiety and bringing yourself out of that survival mode. So please remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss it. As always, thanks to everybody who stays until the very end, and thanks ever so much for your continued support.